go to the scales with David Diamante.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome everybody here today to the Wells Fargo Center in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, USA, for the official weigh-in of our big night of World Championship Professional Boxing taking place here on Saturday night. And it's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing and Boots Promotions. All the action we got live around the world exclusively on DAZN, and on the night we're sponsored by Bet Online, Wild Casino, Stagefront, Everlast, Riyadh Season, and Drip. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great fight card. We have 8 fights on the card in total, 4 title fights and 2 world titles. And ladies and gentlemen, at the top of the bill, 12 rounds for the IBF Welterweight Championship of the World. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring the fighters up to the stage so they can face the scale and face each other. Our first contest, 4 rounds in the Bantamweight division. Now making his way to the stage, he's an 8-fight veteran fighting out of Salta, Argentina. Please welcome Fernando Valdez. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. Saturday night, he'll be making his professional debut. He fights out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Please welcome the Quiet Storm, Dennis Thompson. Now to the scale, Fernando Valdez. 119.2 for Valdez, 119.2. And now to the scale for the very first time as a professional, Dennis Thompson. 116.6 for Thompson, 116.6. Thompson versus Valdez, 4 rounds, Bantamweights, Matchroom Boxing, and Boots Promotions. Live on DAZN from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Quality stare down, Fernando Valdez, all business. Dennis Thompson smiles as he's ready to make his pro debut in his hometown arena as Thompson is ready to go to start us off tomorrow night on DAZN. Let's go back to the scales with David.
Thank you, Justin. Our next contest, we're going to go 6 rounds in the super lightweight division. Now making his way to the stage, his professional record, 3 victories, 4 defeats, 2 draws with 1 win coming by way of knockout. He fights out of San Antonio, Texas. Please welcome Frank Brown. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. His young professional record thus far perfect, 4 fights, 4 victories, with 3 of his 4 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of right here in Philadelphia. Please welcome the chef, Ismail Muhammad. Now to the scale, Frank Brown. 144.2 for Frank Brown, 144.2. And now to the scale, Ismail Muhammad. 144 bang on for Muhammad, 144 pounds even. versus Brown, 6-round super lightweights, Matchroom Boxing, and Boots Promotions live on DAZN from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Frank Brown looking to improve his record to 500 with a win tomorrow night, taking on the undefeated Ish Muhammad, Philly born and bred, fighting his first match scheduled for 6 rounds, a 5'9" southpaw, and he is fighting for the second time in 2024. Picked up a win back in January, a second round TKO over Zach Hill. Now it's time for our third weigh-in of the afternoon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our next contest brought to you by Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing and Boots Promotions in association with King's Promotions. As we go 8 rounds in the super bantamweight division. Now making his way to the stage, his professional record, 38 victories, 13 defeats, 1 draw, with 22 big wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Managua, Nicaragua. Here is the former NABA minimum weight champion and the former multi-time world title challenger. Please welcome Carlos Chocoroncito Buitrago. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. Professional record, 22 victories, only 1 defeat. He has 15 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Christian Cardo. Now to the scale, Chocoroncito. 125.8 for Chocoroncito, 125.8 for Carlos Buitrago. Now to the scale, Christian Cardo. 124.4 for Cardo, 124.4. Versus Buitrago, 8-round super bantamweights, Matchroom Boxing and Boots Promotions in association with King's Promotions, live on DAZN from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
So a big increase in experience between our first 2 preliminary bouts and our final 2, including this one, Cardo and Buitrago, 8 rounds. Christian White Chocolate Cardo, also under the Boots Promotions banner, fighting for the 3rd time in 2024. Last 2 fights have taken place at the Live Casino. Several other fights taking place at the 2300 Arena. But tomorrow night, it's the Big House, Wells Fargo Center, for Christian Cardo.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our next contest brought to you by Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing and Boots Promotions in association with Box Lab and Universal Promotions. As we go 8 rounds in the super featherweight division. Now making his way to the stage, professional record, 12 victories, 1 defeat, 1 draw, with 10 of his 12 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the former Dominican super featherweight champion, representando Monte Plata, República Dominicana. Please welcome Derlin El Coyote Hernandez. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. Professional record, 28 wins, 4 defeats, with 18 big wins coming by way of knockout. Peleando fuera Barranquitas, Puerto Rico. Please welcome the former WBO and ABO super featherweight champion and the former world title challenger, Christopher Pitufo Diaz. Now to the scale, El Coyote, Derlin Hernandez. for Derlin El Coyote Hernandez. Now to the scale, Pitufo, Christopher Diaz. 131.4 for Pitufo. 131.4 for Christopher Diaz. Diaz versus Hernandez, 8-round super featherweights, Matchroom Boxing and Boots Promotions in association with Box Lab and Universal Promotions, live on DAZN from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Now it is time to weigh in for the main card again, beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern on DAZN, and it starts with light heavyweight action.
All right, thank you, Justin. Ladies and gentlemen, our next contest brought to you by Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing and Boots Promotions as we go 10 rounds for the WBC USA Light Heavyweight Championship. Now making his way to the stage, professional record, 11 victories, 1 defeat, with 9 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Charm City, Baltimore, Maryland. Please welcome Rambo Time, Kwame Ritter. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. He is undefeated in his campaign as a professional with a record of 8 victories, no defeats, 1 draw, with 6 of his 8 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Jersey City, New Jersey, please welcome the big stepper, Khalil Now to the scale, Rambo Time, Kwame Ritter. 173 for Rambo Time, Kwame Ritter. Out of the scale, the undefeated big stepper, Khalil Ko. 174 even, 174 pounds for the undefeated big stepper, Khalil Ko. Kwame Ritter, 10 rounds for the WBC USA Light Heavyweight Championship, Matchroom Boxing and Boots Promotions, live on DAZN from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Fight of the night, a title match as Sky Nicholson gets back into the ring.
Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our next contest is our first world title fight of the evening, as Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing and Boots Promotions are proud to present 10 rounds for the WBC Featherweight Championship of the World. Now making her way to the stage, please welcome the challenger. Professional record, 18 victories, 1 defeat, with 12 wins coming by way of knockout. Representando Sabana Iglesia, República Dominicana, here is the reigning WBC Latino Featherweight Champion, Diana La Máquina Vargas. And her opponent now making her way to the stage. She is the defending world champion. Professional record, perfect. 10 fights, 10 victories, 1 of them coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Queensland, Australia, here is the 2020 Olympian and the reigning, defending, and undefeated WBC Featherweight Champion of the World, Sky Nicholson. Now to the scale, Diana La Máquina Vargas. $125.6 for the challenger, La Máquina Diana Vargas, 125.6. And now to the scale, the defending world champion, Sky Nicholson. $125.6 for the defending world champion, Sky Nicholson. 125.6. Nicholson versus Vargas, 10 rounds for the WBC Featherweight Championship of the World. Matchroom Boxing and Boots Promotions, live on DAZN from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Both fighters looking confident in their final stare down ahead of tomorrow night. Diana Vargas looked at as an aggressive power puncher. The big question is, can that motor last the entire way with Nicholson, who is really on a stretch where she is cleaning up rounds in bunches on the judges' scorecards. Took down Sarah Mahfoud, was a round shy of pitching a shutout there. But what will she be able to do against a puncher in Vargas, who has 12 knockouts in 18 wins? We will find out tomorrow night. Now time for our next weigh-in.
All right, thank you, Justin. It's now time to weigh in the chief support of the evening as we go 10 rounds for the WBA Continental North American Welterweight Championship. Now making his way to the stage, his professional record, 16 victories, 1 defeat, with 9 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the former WBC USA Silver Welterweight Champion, fighting out of the Bronx, New York. Please welcome Pistol Pete Dobson. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. His professional record, a perfect one. 8 fights, 8 victories, with 7 of his 8 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of the southeast quadrant of our nation's capital, the District of Columbia. Please welcome the WBCU Silver Welterweight Champion, Jaleel Major Hackett. Now to the scale, from the boogie down, Pistol Pete Dobson. 164.4 for Pistol Pete. 164.4. Pardon me, 146.4. 146.4. All right, now to the scale. From Southeast DC, please welcome the undefeated Jaleel Major Hackett. 146.6. 146.6 for Jaleel Major Hackett. Versus Dobson, 10 rounds for the WBA Continental North American Championship. Matchroom Boxing, live on DAZN from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Some extra distance created between those two after yesterday's shove at the face-offs. And Jaleel Hackett, he has a ton of hype behind him as he and his team wanted this stiff challenge in his Matchroom debut. Again, just 21 years of age, 8-0 from the DC area, coming up the turnpike here and facing off against Pistol Pete Dobson in Philadelphia, who's looking to avenge his first career defeat against Conor Benn. This is a good one as Hackett and Dobson go at it in the co-feature tomorrow night on DAZN. That will bring us to our main event here at Wells Fargo Center as we get ready for an IBF title tilt.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome everybody here today to the Wells Fargo Center in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, USA, for the official weigh-in for our big night of World Championship professional boxing taking place here on Saturday night. And it's now time to weigh in the main event of the evening, as Mr. Eddie Hearn from Matchroom Boxing and Boots Promotions are proud to present 12 rounds of boxing for the IBF Welterweight Championship of the World. Now making his way to the stage, please welcome the challenger. His professional record, 30 victories, 4 defeats. He has 1 draw with 18 wins coming by way of knockout. Originally from Petigorsk, Russia, and now living, training, and fighting out of Newark, England, here is the 5-time European champion and the former WBA welterweight champion of the world, David Avanesyan. Avanesyan. And his opponent now making his way to the stage, he is the defending world champion. Professional record, perfect. 31 fights, 31 victories, with 28 of his 31 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of and representing his home of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, USA, here is the reigning, defending, and undefeated IBF welterweight champion of the world, Jaron Ennis. Now to the scale, the challenger, David Avanesyan. 147, bang on the welterweight limit for the challenger, David Avanesyan. 147 pounds, bang on. And now to the scale, the reigning, defending, undefeated IBF welterweight champion of the world, Jaron Boots Ennis. 146.4 for the defending world champion, Jaron Boots Ennis.
Easy work. It's just work, boo. Regular day. Jab, jab, crack down.
Jaron Ennis, David Avanesyan, 12 rounds for the IBF Welterweight Championship of the World. Matchroom Boxing and Boots Promotions, live on DAZN from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.